On today's show, an update on the Intuit Dome. I entered it on Sunday. Going to be talking about what differences being in the new arena will make for the Clippers in terms of scheduling, convenience for the players, and most importantly, the fan experience. An update on the best arena in the NBA on today's Locked On. Almost going back home from Cancun, Clippers.
You are Locked On Clippers, your daily Los Angeles Clippers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, sir. You were locking in with the Clips. Thank you for making Locked On Clippers the first listen of your day, your team every day. I'm your host, Darian Vaziri, born and raised in LA, and finished my 19th season as a Clipper fan. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DimeDropperPod and subscribe to my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, where I'm still talking about every single NBA Finals game, and you can get more Clipper content. And Locked On Clippers is free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube. And I want you to let me know what you think of all the stuff I'm about to say about the best arena in the NBA that I was able to get an update on, go inside it as a part of a fan experience on Sunday. So we're going to be talking about that, and this episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. Go to LinkedIn Jobs, post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonnba. That's linkedin.com/lockedonnba to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. You can get a job on there. You can hire on LinkedIn. You can do it all. But let's talk about the LA Clippers and the Intuit Dome. And, you could probably find some jobs at the Intuit Dome on LinkedIn as well. We're going to be talking about several aspects of what I saw yesterday relates to, or how it relates to the Clippers and everything, the fans, the team. And we're going to begin with the schedule. So the big thing about getting our own arena was now we don't have to base our schedule necessarily on, oh, the Lakers and the Kings are playing on the same night, so we can't play that night. Oh, the Lakers and the Kings are playing tonight, and the Lakers are playing tonight, and their number one priority, so we have to play at 12:30, and they play at 6:30. Or the Kings are playing, and we got to play at 12:30, and they got to play at 6:30. In the 2023 NBA playoffs, the Clippers, Kings, and Lakers were all in the playoffs at the same time, right? And all three of them were lower seeds in their series. The Clippers ended up playing Game 4 before the Lakers had played Game 3. Talk about scheduling and inconvenience. How about all the matinee games? 9 out of our 41 games this past season were afternoon games on a Sunday or Saturday. 9 out of 41. It wasn't convenient. It wasn't at all. 15 back-to-backs, which was tied with many teams for second in the league, including with the Lakers. I mean, we had a pretty rough schedule this past season, and it felt like almost this past season that Staples Center was just giving us like an absolute, like, we're kicking you on the way out type of thing. We had a really rough schedule from January 26th to March 4th. They had 4 back-to-backs, all on the road. And, I mean, man, that stretch was tough, the January 26th to March 4th. I mean, we came out of that very tired, and that's when the slump kind of began. And we also had a very tough schedule in March. But I remember this. I made an episode about it on this channel, or on Locked On Clippers, when the schedule was released, talking about this is the last year. It's going to be like this. It's such a tough schedule. We're not getting any favors done for us. So it's a real thing, and it was a real thing. And, like, I don't think you should excuse matinee games at all, because in the playoffs, there are going to be some matinee games at 12:30. You got to be prepared for anything. But there's just going to be less of them now, hopefully. And we'll see about less back-to-backs. I mean, I don't know how much that's going to change. But the convenience in them, like, for example, when the Clippers this past season against, I think it was Chicago and Milwaukee, because of daylight savings, we ended up playing 2 games in a span of 22 hours. And then randomly the game the next day was at 11 a.m. Or sorry, it was at 12, and then the day before was at 1. So 22 hours. It was just insane. So we load managed that game and lost. That kind of stuff, that's out the door with the Intuit Dome. And let me just say, because I still want to talk about what I was seeing as I was going through the tour, I walk up to it, and it's across from that movie theater. And I'm just like, wow. Like, I remember when I was working at SoFi Stadium in the 2022 football season, NFL season. No, sorry, the 2021 NFL. No, yeah, the 2022 NFL season. I'm sorry. And I kept looking at the construction from this view of the American Airlines Plaza by the south end zone. And you could see the Intuit Dome and the construction. Forum is on the... For those wondering how close is the Forum to SoFi to Intuit, look, if you're walking down the street going towards the Forum, in the direction of the Forum and SoFi right behind it, you can see all three of the stadiums in one shot, one eye shot. And it happened to me a couple weeks back, and I think I mentioned it on one of these episodes. It was crazy. Like, just seeing all that, like, damn, so much in Inglewood in such, close proximity to one another, all three of these beautiful venues. And it's a lot for the people, I'm not going to lie, the residents. And it's going to be probably some mayhem after games if the Rams and Chargers. It's not going to happen that much, though, because football season, it's not that many games. Rams and Chargers playing the same day as the Clippers, but shouldn't be too bad. Though it is really whack getting out of, on Manchester and those streets outside of SoFi Stadium, outside of the Forum, after games. It's so crowded. I would do anything to go back and see what it was like when the Forum and Showtime Lakers were happening, and seeing what what it looked like after the game ended in the parking lot, and how crowded it was getting out and getting back on the freeway. Like, that stuff's interesting to me. But the point is, the scheduling is going to be so much in our favor. But as I was saying, as I was walking up to it, I'm like, man, this building is... That picture behind me, in the background, if you're watching on YouTube, that's literally what it looks like. Like, this was the vision. It's crazy with SoFi Stadium and Intuit Dome, the two arenas that have been built. Well, Staples Center was also built when I was alive. It's just, it was finished when I was a year and a half. So I didn't see the whole construction part, whereas with SoFi and Intuit, I saw the before, the construction, and now the after. It's exactly like what the blueprints were. Like, it's exactly like the blueprints. It's crazy to see it come together. The red netting is all up. And those are like solar panels. Those gray things that you see, those are like panels. So, I mean, it's just high tech as can be. They're still, they're installing that big screen outside. That plot, I don't even know what it's called. The community court, all that stuff is yet to come. There's still a lot of work to be done. Definitely still a lot of work to be done. But, man, it was just insane to see it the outside of the arena, and how far it's come and how close we really are to this. It's crazy. But the main takeaway from this segment to me is, and should be for you, is the scheduling is going to be better. And that is huge. It's just so much more convenient for the foreseeable future. It's not just this year, every year after. So we got our own building, no second fiddle. Let's go. But coming up, going to be talking about the convenience for the players, the amenities inside the stadium that should make their day-to-day lives easier as a member of this improving franchise. Going to be talking about that coming up. I got to tell you a little something about eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available to U.S. customers. Are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day? Have to turn down the volume with all that shouting? Make the switch to Locked On Sports today. A free 24/7 sports streaming channel programmed for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. All right, so let's talk about the convenience and some of the stuff I was seeing as I was going through the arena. This is first kind of like for the player angle, but the first thing I saw when we walked in was actually, no, this was a fan experience thing, but we walked through the hallways, the concessions, the lower concourse, and man, it looks beautiful. It definitely looks beautiful. Wide, no random pillars, like where Staples Center. It's the width of it. It's about the same as Staples Center. Staples Center might even be a little bigger. In the hall, I'm talking about the concourse, the hallways right outside before you go enter your seat, like right when you walk in the stadium. It's about the same size in terms of width, just from my eye test. I don't have the measurements, and I even asked about it, but there's no random pillars just out of nowhere. So as we were going through the arena, they didn't take us to like locker rooms or anything. I don't even know if locker rooms are even fully built, but we saw the practice facility. So for those that don't know, like for all the Clipper fans I have that listen that are not from Los Angeles, because I know there's so many, we had a practice facility in Playa Vista, and we play games in downtown LA. So, I mean, it's not super far from each other, but with traffic, it can be annoying. I don't know if people haven't heard of Playa Vista. It's like right next to Marina Del Rey, Culver City. So kind of like West Side, Mid-City kind of area. And it was, it's a different location than their arena. Whereas with Intuit Dome, the practice facility is inside the Intuit Dome. So they can legit just camp out at the Intuit Dome all day on a game day if they want. They go for shoot around. Don't even have to go home. Take a shower at the Intuit Dome. Just have all your stuff. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know these guys' game day routines. But the point is, whatever their routine is, it's probably easier than going from their house to Playa Vista, then back home, and then going to downtown. Like, this is just, and we walked and saw the two courts. There's two courts in the practice facility. There's like, I saw in the room they were building, the room next door, like a lot of see-through windows. So, like they said on the right side, from when I was walking in to the practice courts, the right side, Ty Lue's office was at the bottom, right? Like, on the same level as the courts. And it was a see-through glass windows. So an office, so you can just watch what's going on. And then upstairs overlooking the whole thing. Kind of similar to what you see from, I believe that's Genie's office, but they show that Lakers practice facility office that's overlooking the courts. It's kind of similar to that with Ballmer's. That's Ballmer's office, just overseeing everything. But yeah, for the players, they have, right to the side of the two courts, they have like where all the food and snacks will be and stuff like that. And then like they were building what looked like a hot tub, like a jacuzzi area next to it. And then apparently there's going to be an outdoor pool, like right outside the building on the other side of the windows in the practice facility. And one thing I found really cool about this all was that the new logos were branded on the floors. The LA, the red LA, and then the Clipper cursive, the Los Angeles cursive, exactly how you see them on our new jerseys. So, man, I mean, that was really cool to see. So, the convenience for the players, and they had side hoops too. Like, if you've ever been in a gym, there's the full course and there's the side hoops. They had some of that. So, man, absolute convenience for the players. I'm trying to think before I get it. There's so much fan stuff to talk about, but I'm trying to think more stuff for the players that they were telling us. That's all I can think of off the top of my head, but it just seems like such a sick venue to play in. I would be ecstatic if I'm these Clippers, brand new. It's a blessing, it is, but coming up, the fan experience. That's what this is all about. Gonna be talking about that coming up, Clipper Nation? I got to tell you a little something about LinkedIn. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are just right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. I got my job, that job I actually referenced in this episode, working for the Rams, on LinkedIn. But you can also try to hire for your business on LinkedIn. Because LinkedIn isn't just another job board. LinkedIn has a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, which makes it the best place to hire. It gives you access to professionals you can't find anywhere else. LinkedIn does all that while making the process easy and intuitive. Hiring is easy when you have that many quality candidates. So easy, in fact, that 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. LinkedIn is constantly finding ways to help make the process easier. They even just launched a feature that helps you write job descriptions, making the process even easier and quicker. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. All right, time for the most important part of this episode, the fans and what this means. So let me tell you something. This arena is just amazing. And I'd say this as a guy that loves Staples Center, and that arena means so much to me. It was my first place I saw a basketball game. It's the site of where the Clippers have had their best seasons in franchise history and have become from a poverty franchise to a respectable franchise that was contending for playoff appearances every year, making the playoffs every year, had the most exciting team in basketball at one point, and was able to attract the Finals MVP at the height of his powers. We did all that in the Staples Center. We broke the curse of the second round of the Staples Center, broke the first round curse of the Staples Center. But this stadium, man, it's so much better for us. More than anyone else, it's about us. And of course about the team winning. But Ballmer had a sense when he came into the Staples Center, he was like, man, this scheduling is whack. The Kings, they built the arena. For anybody who doesn't know, the Staples Center was initially built with the Kings in priority. They needed a new arena. It's technically labeled a hockey arena. It's built for hockey. If you've been to Staples Center, all the seats that are like built in, only the amount that are for a hockey game are built in. The basketball games, they literally bring retractable chairs like in the courts, behind the courtside seats. Like those people you see that are behind courtside, those first like 10 to 15 rows behind the basket at Staples Center, those are like retractable seats, foldable chair type things. Like they're not very comfortable. The other ones are the built-in seats for a hockey game. Perfect proportions for a hockey game. Because obviously the ice is longer than a basketball court. So it is a hockey arena. And the way the noise just, when you're at a hockey game, at a Kings game, you just feel like, okay, this feels right to me. The only thing I'll say, though, my biggest complaint about Staples Center is the 3 level. I can do a whole episode on just this part of this, comparing Staples Center and Intuit, but 3 levels of suites, because it's so corporate, 3 levels of suites makes the upper level, the 300 section, and the lower bowl feel like you're in completely different arenas. Completely different, right? I've never sat in the 300 section for a hockey game, but I'll just say this about being in the 100s. It feels a lot more like this is what this stadium was built to be, a hockey stadium. When I'm at a Kings game, it feels right. Lakers and Clippers, it doesn't, because the sound, I don't know, the sound just travels too much. It's too big. It's such a huge stadium. It's so tall, and the sound just travels and goes everywhere. And also, I didn't realize this because it was the first stadium I'd ever been to, but that 300 section thing, I mean, it's very unique to Staples Center. Washington, and I don't mean in a very good way, Washington Wizards Stadium, it was called Verizon Center when I went, but now it's the Capital One Arena. That had 3 levels of seats. Because the 200 section and the Premier are barely above the 100s. I don't consider that a second. They're not separated by a suite level. So the Wizards Stadium has 3 tiers. It's the only stadium I've been to that has 3 tiers. So that was pretty tall too. But I don't think it was that great of a stadium. Boston, New York, and even Phoenix, which is the other 3 stadiums I've been to. MSG, TD, and it's called Footprint now. Those ones, the upper level, the second level, is way closer to the 100 section than Staples Center is, right? At the Intuit Dome. And by the way, I talked about the concessions and like walking in the concourse. there's basketballs on the ground that when you see a basketball on the ground, that's telling you that it's an entrance to the arena. When you see, I forget what it was, what the other thing was, but there's another emblem or something that's going to represent food and drink. So I thought that was cool. They released a menu, and some of the food sounds so good. Like, they're going to have your classic chicken tenders and fries. They apparently went to Austria and have some pretzel recipe, a sushi hot dog. Yes, sushi dog, apparently. I mean, street hot dog. It's going to be next level. A Detroit-style pizza. And that's one thing about Staples Center. The food dropped off massively. Massively. They don't even have McDonald's anymore to have at least a safety net. You know what I'm saying? You need that Mickey D's to have that safety net because the line at Blaze Pizza is too long. And the only other thing that's impressive in that spot is the Ludo Bird, which I like. If you've ever been to Staples Center, the Ludo Bird is pretty quality. It's kind of pricey, which everything is, but it's pretty quality to me. Dirt Dog is whatever. And everything else is just mid. That's putting it nicely at Staples Center. It's declined food-wise. This sounds amazing. This sounds A1. Steve Ballmer, big money Ballmer. He said, you call this a poverty franchise? We got the most bust-down, beautiful stadium in the league, son. What are you talking about? And here's the other thing. So I walk out there, right? Obviously, my breath is taken away. I'm seeing our new court with the logo. And, of course, it's not the most beautiful logo in the world. But I'll take it over that dojo-looking thing we've had for the last 7-8 years. Oh, my goodness. It's such a breath of fresh air. Then I'm looking around the arena, and the first thing I'm seeing is, man, at the end of the day, it's still an arena. It's still round. It still has seats. It still has 2 levels of seats. But, oh, boy, it ain't the same. That second level is very close to the first. There's 1 level of suites. The seats are right next to each other. Everything that Steve said it would be. The fans, I am so excited to hear the same fan base in a new arena built for basketball and built for noise. I turned around. I was in the wall, right? Everyone's talking about the wall, the section that's all Clipper fans only, that's uninterrupted, 56 rows, I believe. Straight to the top. I turn around and look at it, and it is so steep. It is nothing like I've experienced at Staples Center that goes outwards. It just goes up, right on top of the other. Like, apparently Utah was the inspiration for it. And I give them a lot of, ished. But the one thing you can't deny about the Utah Jazz, they have an amazing atmosphere in their arenas at Delta Center. And they've had it in so many different iterations of their team. It's just been consistent. So that's what the Clippers looked at to inspire this. And, man, I mean, it's just so different than Staples Center in terms of how close everybody is to each other. No separator, really, for the second level. I mean, oh, my God. I can't wait to make noise in that place. I just can't wait. It's so much smaller. People wondering if it's bigger. It might have more seats, but it's smaller. It's not as tall, and that's a good thing. That's a really good thing. And I went lower to like the 10th row. They said that the 20th row at Intuit Dome compared to the 20th row at Staples Center, 45 feet closer to the court. I was standing there in like the 10th row, and it felt like I was right on top of seeing, that that left corner on the court. I mean, you're so much closer to the action. It's unreal. It's unreal. And so if anyone's wondering, what is the wall, right? So apparently it's all Clipper fans. You can't resell your ticket because it could fall into the hands of another fan base, right? For people wondering, what about that thing you did last season, that 207, that super fan only section or whatever? You have the standing only section. That will be in the heart of the wall. So it'll be like right behind one of the baskets in the middle, about 300 seats. It'll be like standing room only. So they won't even put the chairs down. So you basically, the only thing you can do is kind of lean on them during timeouts I asked about. So, again, I don't have season tickets next year. We'll see what I do. I might try to get a credential. But the fan experience, man, like, they were still building that outdoor plaza, that community court. There's also a court inside, a third court inside that's specific to community events and stuff like that. And each court had a different Clipper logo on it, which I thought was amazing. The main court had this new sailboat compass logo. One of the courts had the red LA. I think the community court did. And then the 2 practice facility courts had the Clipper cursive and the Los Angeles cursive. So it was just so cool. And the outside, they're building that big screen to watch games on for Clipper fans that want to chill. And apparently they're going to build some bars and restaurants outside there too. So that block, I mean, it's going to be Clippers Central. Now, I wonder with that big screen, are we going to be able to watch games from other sports? Like, is it going to be used for the World Cup and stuff in 2 years? Are we going to watch Rams games on it and stuff? Because that screen outside Staples Center, they don't use to put on any games. We don't have anything like what Toronto has with Jurassic Park or the Deer District in Milwaukee. You know, people watch games at Tom's at Staples Center. That's what they do. But what if, I mean, are people going to congregate to a Clipper location? It is Inglewood, though, and it's by SoFi. It's a community stuff. It's a good conversation to be having. It's all this is great conversation to be having. I just wish the team was a little bit more on the up and up. We're just a very solid team that's just like, is Kawhi going to be healthy? But man, that arena is special. Come out. Anyway, that's all I got for now. Gonna be doing an episode on Clipped next, by the way, probably. Clip the show. Go watch it on Hulu before I talk about it. It's going to be interesting. Lawrence Fishburne as Glenn Rivers, talking about our Lob City Clips and the Donald Sterling stuff. Really entertaining first 2 episodes. I'm going to get into it. May have one of the production assistants come on the show and join me, and maybe a beat writer. So check that out before I talk about it. It should be good stuff. Relive some of those days and talk about how accurate the story is from what actually happened. So yeah, it's stuff. It's always nice for me to talk about Lob City and share memories and stuff like that. At least for me. You know, I know a lot of the stands don't like it because you're not a real Clipper fan. I would love you if you guys just stayed Clipper fans after you guys leave or retire. Because let me tell you something. You Paul George, Kawhi, Russ, and Harden fans, they won't be here for that much longer. So we're always recruiting. But anyway, that's it for me in this one. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DimeDropperPod. Subscribe to my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, for even more LA Clipper, LA sports, and NBA content. And Locked On Clippers is free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube. Let me know what you thought of all the stuff I said about the Intuit Dome, the best arena in the league. The age-old proverb continues. Go Clippers.